Hey, Matt here, back with another trainer video. Today we're going to go back to some 200 big blinds, and also we're going to just randomize the formation. I like the random formation feature because oftentimes I'm not sure what to study, but I want to study. So I could just pick a random flop situation, whether it's single raise pot, 3-bet, 4-bet pot, 5-bet pot. I think you could do ISO and limps as well. And we'll just randomize one of them for me. It's nice because it simulates more of a real game too, which I like. Unfortunately, you can only start on the flop. I wish you could start on the turn of the river, but I suppose there's just so many possible nodes, it wouldn't really work out. Today we're just going to stick again with the theme of just 3-bet pots though. So here's the settings that I'm using. I'm still going back and forth on whether or not to use simple or general sims. On one hand, simple sims are nice because it's more realistic and a sizing scheme that I'm more likely to actually use in game. But when we use the general sims, we actually get to see what sizes are used and possibly preferred, or what will generate the highest DP. Although that's not necessarily true, but that's a debate for another time. But today we're just gonna stick with general, and yeah, let's hop in and see how it goes. Okay, the first situation here is button versus under the gun. I suppose we're probably just going to check our range, and that seems to be the case. Check, I guess king's better for in position. The question is, do we ever want to have any small sizes? See, this is the problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but it's a thing that happens when we use the general sims. We just have so many different sizes to choose from, and realistically it's spread out a little bit, but there's not going to be too much difference between the sizes. The question is, do we ever want to use a small bet and go mergey here? Especially on the 95. Well, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's just go 20. Yeah. Usually on a low board, say it goes check, not necessarily on the king turn, but like on other turns, you want to go small, 100 big blinds, but I don't know, 200 big blinds. But we rolled 95, let's just go 20 so we can go. So it looks like, yeah, we're just never really betting small, which I guess makes sense. So we kind of made a mistake there. Let's just change our move actually and just go check, just so we could be in a more realistic situation. I think nothing to do but call, especially on the lower roll. I don't think we'll ever really raise anyways. Yeah. Do you ever donk? I could see it. Again, we're just gonna bet small. I feel like in position could have a lot of checkbacks, and we want to get a little bit of value. So let's donk. We'll go 20. Looks like it's sometimes. It actually is a thing more so than with the queen, I guess. Solver's probably thinking, well, if we have a queen or an ace, we're going to get more value with in-position betting than betting ourselves, but I like betting, and at least it's a thing. Okay. At least 3. Next hand. This is now blind v blind. I think we'll just check range. Probably just pure check. Looks like we're using big. Actually, can I actually go back without changing this situation? I believe I can. I click this. So we hit check, and I just want to see what sizings are we using. Are we using more of a geometric size? 200 big blinds, we're just betting big, and looks like it's just kind of big. And let's kind of look the range. Okay. That seems to be reasonable. 7's interesting. So I think we have 2 options. We could check and go for the check raise, or we could bet ourselves. How I usually try and figure that out is how often do I think in position will bet when check 2 and when it goes check. I think they're sub%. See, what would have been nice to see, like, let's look at the, I guess we can't see because it's in learning mode. I was going to see how often imposition checks on the flop, because I think that really matters. I think they're going to bet a lot. So if they're going to bet a lot and they don't, that means they probably don't have many reopens on the river. So I'm just going to bet big myself. The question is size. Fuck it. Well, it looks like bigger is good, but not quite that big. It looks like check raise can be a potential option. I wonder if it's because... so let's just open the solution. It'll be the easiest way to do it. I don't want to mess up the trainer. Let's just look at big blind strategy here. So they actually are checking back more than I thought with these hands, and then on the turn they still have some of those. So I guess what I'm guessing is if we bet 300, these are all pure folds. I'll call some bets. This one's maybe call a little bit more, so somehow it determines that it's better to bet this size versus that size. Yeah. Okay, so that's something to note. There's something to note. Like maybe this is just a little bit too crazy. This is me being deep, thinking, hey, let's just bet huge. So this is small blind versus MP. So in a situation like this, it was 100 big blind. My first question would be, what size we want to use on this board? And I'd say probably small. Do we have a big checking range? I'm going to say no. So as a result, I'm just going to continue to bet this. See, this is the problem having 20 or 33. I feel like it's pretty much the same. Just like have 125 size would do the job. 100 big blinds when it's high, low, low. You actually could use the medium size. Yeah. See, this is the problem with using the general sims. We did roll a 15, but again, I don't think we're going to check much. I think I'm just pure betting this. Let's just pick half. So it looks like it likes small. But again, that's kind of the problem with the general sims. The sizes are so bunched together, it doesn't really help us. What's interesting though is that high, low, low, even on that board, because they're deeper, it went small. I think on this board, only 16, we're going to check, but if I was to bet, what size would I use? And I'm thinking, because I think it was the first session, when imposition has a lot of draws, or maybe more nuts over time or something, we'll use smaller sizes. So I think we actually would just use a small size if we were to bet, but on 16, I think we'll check, which we do. And what's interesting is this board actually prefers half. Well, it doesn't prefer half, sorry. It's just a smaller bet, but a little bit bigger of a smaller bet than the other one. If anyone wants to look at that as to why. Especially because there's lots of draws here. Imposition probably has all the sets too, unlike the first. Well, what's this one? Sorry. Oh. What was this one? See, it was more smaller here. Yeah, I don't really know what to say to that. See, did it go back to... See, that's the problem. It actually went back to... that's unfortunate. Yeah, when you click the history, it like resets where you were. Are we going to bet a lot? Probably. Actually, maybe not. Like, does kings, jacks, tens really want to bet here? No. So we want to have some sort of checking range this hand would fit in, although we bet it, we have an 89, so I guess we'll just bet. And I'm guessing small is going to be the size you use, so just do something like that. Looks like we never check. That's interesting. We probably just get so many folds. When the range is, that's something I actually didn't consider here too. When it is deeper, the imposition range will be a little bit wider than it normally would be at 100 big blinds. So like all these low cards just fold, and when it folds that much, at least what I've noticed, I know a lot of people don't really think of MDF as a thing, but if you look at Sims and when you see bet small and it just gets a bunch of folds, it actually will bet small even on a board that looks like you may want to go quote unquote polar. But anyways, let's go to the next one. Or next one. The hand wasn't even over yet. Oh, okay, so this is button percent of the gun again. I think we just check pure. Raise decision. Now, the question is, how often do we want to raise this? We rolled high, so let's raise. I think when the Jack 9 brings the broadways the strays, we want to raise bigger when we run raise. So let's raise. The question is, what size? Again, how do I know the difference between these raise sizes? Not really sure. Let's just do something like this. So it looks like that's good. Can call and raise. Obviously, I'm raising a little bit too much, but it's actually interesting. This is 11% folds. I would never have thought there's going to be some folds there. Right. This is small versus cutoff. Obviously, this hand can probably do anything. But what does our range want to do? I'm guessing small again. See, this one, I think, unlike the, and I won't click it so we don't go back, the Ace Queen 9, I think there's going to be less folds on this board, so we probably would have a checking range. So when we have a checking range, we've got to check some of our value or strong hands. I mean, this hand's kind of like a in-betweener anyways. On the 45, let's check this one. Looks like, wow, 45 check, and looks like, yeah, we're going to check more here, but it's still using the small size. So that's good to note. Check. I probably just pure check again. See, this is the problem here. So this is see, I would never play like this. It's interesting that even these hands are starting to block right away. I would never have bet them. I would just pure check. Pure check kings, jacks, tens. Even like some of these like low ace X, so that's interesting. So let's change it to, is this right? Okay. Now we have to check, right? Pure check, especially on the 2, and wow, we block again. I guess when we block, we're getting all these calls, but I figured for sure with the queen pairing, it reduces our equity, and I guess there's still going to be calls, I suppose. Like these pairs. Just makes it worth it, even like king high is going to call. Huh. Interesting. I don't really know what else to say about that one. Alright, this is sorry. Oh, this is interesting. Cutoff versus MP. Pure check. Probably pure fold, actually. It just doesn't really connect with anything, yeah. Pure check. Small size, I guess call. I wish I could see, well I could if I hit say the spot, see the strategy there. I mean, betting small, high frequency probably makes sense. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay. That's good to know. Just something to note, because C betting obviously is something we've been working on the last couple videos. Check. Probably just fold. Blockings and bluffs can't really improve. We already have a bluff catcher essentially. Ran the 13, I'll fold. Yeah. We avoid it with the aces. Blind be blind again. Pure check. So this is in the first hand. This is where we probably want to bet small at a high frequency. So let's do something like this. And again, actually, I'm surprised that this isn't the way. Maybe because it's not a linear range that's 3-betting, and it's more a polarized range, but I have a hard time believing that. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to compare this to 100 big blinds. So it appears actually even 100 big blinds, we won't do this. Now, I'm going to just save this exact situation. Okay, I'll put this over here. A minute. And I'm going to pretend that it's cutoff versus button. The reason I'm doing this is I want to see. So again, now we're betting small. So I wonder if, well, let's actually first kind of compare the flop C bets. I think that was something similar. But anyway, it's interesting that now when it's a more linear 3-betting range, we are blocking smaller, whereas the polarized we're not. Maybe there's reason into that. I don't really want to spend too much time diving into it here. My gut says it's because we don't need as much protection from a weaker range. Like I think the polarized range would be weaker, right, than the linear. Like if we bet like here with sevens, we get some of these overcards of old, although not all. So yeah, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. But anyways, interesting spot. All right, let's continue. Or I guess we're still in the hand. Now we're here. I guess just check. What if this is actually a good bluff catcher? I'll fold an 18. Alright, next hand. Button versus cutoff. Pure check. Call pure. Pure check. I guess we have a value bet. Question is size. I guess small. Something like this makes sense. Oh, we can actually even go 50. It was kind of close. Obviously, there's going to be some ace-x that they're going to check back. As you can see, it's not high frequency. And then like kings and it's actually less king-queen. Does it bet king-queen then on the turn, I guess, or what? I guess, yeah. So then, yeah, that makes sense why, because even betting like queen, jack. So that's kind of why I guess our queen, jack ourselves is just better, and we can actually size up. So yeah, it's a tough thing. Like learning these thresholds is super key, but it's easier said than done. Small versus cutoff. I would just bet small with pretty much almost range. So I wonder here, because there's like more draws, is it like size up to 33 instead of the 20? Not really. But we're betting a lot. Just call with a spade. I don't think we're ever folding. Even on 17. It's okay. 10's actually probably good. I wonder if we ever donk on the 92. Let's try it. I guess not. I thought maybe. I mean, they're never raising a 10, right? Or I don't think so. What do I know? I actually should have hit change the move because now we're kind of in a no man's land territory. Wow. I think just bet small. It's interesting. 100 big blinds, you could probably size up, but I'm just going to continue this. Pure check. I think pure check. What else to say there? Okay, again, we have this rainbow high, low, low. What was interesting was it, I think earlier we had the high, low, low, which was one of these. And I decided to bet medium, and it was small. I can't remember the formation. I'm an idiot. I thought this was big blind versus MP, but I just called the 3-bet, so forget everything that I said. That's too funny. You know, I'm curious though. Can I see that? I'm curious what imposition size would be. My guess would be medium if I had to guess, but is it? So it looks like it is. I'm not using the smaller size. I wonder if that has something to do with imposition or sub position. But anyways. It is what it is. Especially because 200 big blinds, you'll have more of those like lower suited connectors. You have force 2's higher frequency than you would at 100. I'm guessing a raise on the 70. Question is size. It is MP versus under the gun, so I don't think we'll raise as much as we would normally think, especially towards the half. You know, maybe 70 is not enough. Maybe I just pure call. Yeah. Don't raise much. I think people over raise these formations, even like button versus cutoff MP under the gun. Yeah. See, I think this is a situation similar to one we had earlier in the video where we have to ask ourselves how often is imposition going to reopen that we can go for the check raise, and I don't think it's going to be that much, so we probably want to bet ourselves. We went for the 300% last time, but it didn't work out, so let's go for 150 instead. And now it uses the 300. What's the difference between this one and the 7s, please? Maybe because you know what? In that 7-6 hand, maybe it's because the 7's imposition will actually have some 7s, so we can't go too big as well. But yeah, just call. Showdown? Check 10. Wow. Spicy. Alright, a few more. Cut off for under gun. I have this one right this time. Your check. Yeah, I was actually thinking of raising, but I thought I'd just pure fold. Interesting. Your check. Call. Don't think raise. Which I'm really raising. Interesting overbet there. So that's a spot that I want to look at later. Different hand. I do want to look at turn sizing, like when we could actually size up, when do we use a medium size, etc. This is check here. Wow, overbets the flop. I suppose we just call. We have ace of spades. I don't think we can ever fold this, right? We can raise some. Sizing scheme I haven't quite seen. Beer check. Probably raise. So this smaller size makes sense versus the other one where like the nuts could change over time. Yeah, let's just quickly look at that. Oh, there still is some medium. 100. Well, we're gonna raise. Question of size. I'm guessing bigger. That's why the simple solutions aren't bad. Maybe next time we'll do the simple solutions. We'll do the same video, but simple solutions. You just check. I don't think imposition is going to reopen that often. I think small, with the hope of getting our value from imposition raising, and then we could re-raise on top of that. That's what I think. So if we bet small, and let's say in position does have a straight, because it's possible queen 10 maybe, ace king, something like that, kings even, aces maybe, they will raise, even a worse flush, right? Raise. So I think I like that line. Let's go 10. Apparently not, and apparently we're never checking. Wow, I guess the ace maybe in position with stab. I have no idea. If anybody understands this hand, let me know. We'll see. It's sort of messed up because let's actually play it out using the size that it. We bet raise 100, which shrinks the size. So let's say we go 60, just so it'll be a little bit more accurate. Call. Turn was the ace of diamonds, which I assume we're still going to check a ton, which we do. I guess they're betting a reasonable amount. Let's just see if it changes the river strategy. So it still never checks. It's interesting. Let's look at the frequencies. Wait. Am I missing something? These don't line up with the sizes that we had here. It must be because when we're in a different line, like when we raise the bigger size, it uses those sizes on later streets. Anyways, yeah, I'm surprised by this. I think we do. All right, let's do a couple more. Well, we got what we wanted. We got what we wanted. Nice. Yeah, let's end on this and then we'll wrap it up a little bit. Check. I don't really want to call. Sure, there's some good turns and we're deeper. But it's MP percent of the gun. I'm going to fold, especially on the 6. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, let's stop this session. So that was a tough one today. There was a lot of confusing spots, and I wasn't really sure the reason why Sauber was doing what he was doing. I could have dived a lot deeper into some of the spots. I don't know if you would prefer that, or would you prefer me going through many hands and kind of discussing them in the comments later? I'm not really sure what I want to do there. I'm curious also, how did you find randomizing the formation instead of sticking to one spot? Again, there's pros and cons of that. If you stick to one spot, you can get really good at it. When you randomize spots, you get more variety, but you're not going to be as sharp. Just what do you prefer? Getting really good at one thing or kind of good at a lot of things? I kind of like the latter, but I'm curious what you think in the comments below. And yeah, as always, appreciate you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this deep content. I don't think there's a lot of deep content out on the internet. And I think a lot of us are clueless, so we're all kind of learning together. So yeah, with that, again, thanks for watching. Good luck at the tables. Talk to you next time.